My name is Albert James, and I'm from Darlington. I have been involved in the life of the country club since in my early, probably 10 or 11 years old. I've been a member in terms of dues paying and all since I got home came back from Vietnam in the military, which would be 1971, and I would have joined. I was a golfer, and the golf was a part of my life, and so I'm sure I would have been a member since whatever that is, 50 some odd years. It started with the swimming hole, the old swimming hole down on Black Creek, which I have such wonderful memories of. Of course, Mother and Daddy would have swam in the creek, because the mamas and daddies did in those days. They didn't have swimming pools and all that sort of stuff. And I can remember swimming and diving off the high diving boards, playing with, it would have been mostly male friends in those days before I was a teenager, and climbing up on the raft. The swimming hole was quite a thing in those days. There was a outdoor house sort of a thing, an open type outside building, and my family every year, the James family, which was an extended larger family here in those days, we had 4th of July picnics there every year at lunch and in the afternoon, and swam. I remember in my youth I had friends, Billy Cogswell and Bryant Mangum, and there's a thing up here in the clubhouse written by Bryant Mangum about this. We would dive for golf balls in Black Creek in front of what was in the 2nd and 3rd holes, you know, because that was fun, was finding the golf balls down there in the stream. So there were some really, really good memories of the time at Black Creek, and you know, the family events that we had there that are a part of my youth. Now, of course, then we went to a swimming pool. Excuse me. And of course, in those days there weren't swimming pools. I remember that swimming pool. I remember Dr. John Wilson had a swimming pool, so it's very unusual. But the swimming pool was a new thing, a new event, a chance to swim. But by that time, I was probably an early teenager, and a chance to learn how to talk to girls and all. That was the swimming pool. That was an addition of the club. We were still just 9 holes in. I remember my days playing golf. To give you just a little bit of context, of course, I still play golf, but don't play very good. But I'm 82. But I remember out here when I was a junior in high school, we had what was then called the PD Conference Golf Tournament, which was the high schools of the PD area at the time. And that year, the PD Conference Tournament was here, and had a golfer who was a year or two older than me from Cheraw, whose name was Randy Glover, who shot a 62 in that tournament out here, which was the club record. And it was still 9 holes in those days at the Darlington Country Club. And I shot a 73 and 74 in the 36-hole tournament. And I remember that I came in second, which was the best I ever did. Of course, I played in the Southern 500 tournament when that was organized. I remember my friend Jack Hendricks and all the work he did, and Billy McClary, in making golf a real thing out here at the club. You asked me about my family, and I talked about Mama and Daddy, and of course that would have been a recreational event for them. Was coming out to the creek probably on Saturday afternoons or something, when there would have been a lot of adults swimming in the creek. There was a beach of sorts then, and so it was a gathering place. Later in our lives, my wife Finley, with her friend Ellen Baker, joined with Mr. Tom Cox and Ralph Pond and Billy McClary in the, I don't know what you call it, a project maybe, but in the undertaking to substantially improve the clubhouse and to make, or to begin to make, the country club more a facility for the promotion of Darlington and the activities of its organizations. And that process would have been started in the, I guess, the late 70s or the early 80s. You see this club, of course I remember the old clubhouse because I'm old, but this clubhouse now and the way it has been done and developed and improved over the years, when starting with my wife's time and Mr. Pond and Mr. Cox and others, but with many, many more people putting themselves into making this thing. This facility is one of the real best things about Darlington. That we have this where organizations can meet, where people can come and share time. Of course, the whole layout, I think the way the holes play is good. The condition of the greens, as for instance, the fairways, my goodness, they've been nice this year. In fact, the grass is too tall with my short drives now, and the ball won't bounce but 2 times. You know, I wish the grass wasn't as good as it is. But of course, you know, in my younger days, Mr. Grant Bennett was in Florence. I took lessons from Mr. Bennett. I played against the Florence teams, played in Florence. But I think this place now really is as good as it can get in terms of condition and the interesting layout that we have here. Of course, I still plant some older trees or growing trees that will be oak trees. I've got a maple tree I've got to plant now. All of this to improve the place, to make it pretty years from now. But if you ask me and I'm not a professional golfer, and I don't play all over the world. In my youth, I played at some of the real nice courses like Pinehurst and all. But this place is really good, and it is in good shape. I remember in my youth how playing golf, there were the older men who played golf, and I caddied in those days for those older men, and I remember them sitting out there under the walnut tree. And this is a place where people interact, and where, as a young man, I had the chance to learn from the men who were out here ahead of me and older than me, and of course most of whom have died. But this is a wonderful place, and every time I come out here to this building and I look around in it and all, I think about my wife. I think about those other folks who've had so much to do with making this such a community asset as a building and as a facility. I look out on the golf course now and all of the improvements that have been made and how beautiful it is, and I just say thank you.